And if you almost didn't click this, or you're already thinking about leaving, that hesitation is not random either. It's the exact moment where people usually scroll away from what is meant to confront them. There is a reason your spirit paused here, because heaven is acknowledging the weight you have been carrying, the long nights of trying again with nothing to show for it, the quiet exhaustion of pushing forward while feeling stuck in the same place. God sees how tired you are from holding it together, from worrying about money, from feeling the pressure to be strong when inside you feel worn thin, unseen, and unsure if anything is actually changing. This word is not here to overwhelm you, it is here to recognize you. You have been faithful in a season that felt silent, consistent in a cycle that refused to move, and patient far beyond what felt humanly possible. That frustration, that heaviness, that sense that life has been standing still while time keeps moving, it has been noticed. This is the moment where God interrupts the loop and declares that the season of strain is coming to a close. The waiting is not endless, and the shift has already begun beneath the surface. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. We went through fire and water, but you brought us to a place of abundance. This is not imagination. This is not wishful thinking. This is a transition already in motion, a divine rearranging that is closer than you realize. Relief is forming, reassurance is settling in, and hope is quietly rising again, because what God has been preparing does not require you to strive harder, only to remain present. Stay here, because what comes next will confirm what your spirit has already started to feel and activate what has been waiting to move. Some of you have learned to call survival faith. You learned to call exhaustion obedience, and you learned to call silence waiting on God, when in truth you were afraid to admit how tired you are of being strong. Chosen one, this is what your spirit has been bracing for, not because you are dramatic or weak, but because you have been carrying a weight that was never meant to crush you in silence. This word was never casual, never meant to arrive gently, because it is meeting you at the exact place where hope felt thin and strength felt borrowed. God sees how long you endured without reassurance, how many times you kept moving while feeling unseen, how often you questioned your value when progress refused to show itself. The resistance around this moment was not random, and the pressure you felt leading up to now was not punishment, it was proximity. What you have been sensing is real, and the shaking in your inner world is not fear, it is recognition. Pause. You are not losing control. You are standing at the edge of a divine interruption where what was hidden is being pulled forward. Scripture confirms this moment without explanation. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And you will forget your misery. It will be like water flowing away. This message reached you because you are not ordinary to heaven, even when life made you feel replaceable. There was a season where nothing moved and everything tested you, and like Joseph forgotten in the prison after doing everything right, you learned what it meant to wait without applause, to trust without evidence, to survive without answers. That waiting did not weaken you, it refined your hearing. Now listen carefully. The urgency you feel is not anxiety, it is alignment, and the pressure lifting is the sign that the delay has expired. God is not rushing you, He is releasing you. What once required years of endurance is being condensed into moments of clarity, and what was blocked is already loosening. This is not chaos approaching, This is order rearranging itself around obedience you didn't even realize you were practicing. The exhaustion you carried was the cost of being early, and the loneliness you felt was the space required for what is about to meet you. Heaven is not experimenting with your life. It is executing what was written long before you became tired. You are not behind. You are right on time, and the resistance you survived was proof that this crossing mattered. This is not hype, and it is not imagination. It is the calm before a visible shift, the quiet certainty before confirmation. You will not need to force what comes next. It will recognize you. If you leave now, you won't lose information, you'll miss recognition. Chosen one, the signs you've been feeling were never meant to scare you. They were meant to recognize you, because something has been moving around you long before it showed itself to you. What others dismiss as noise, delay, or coincidence has been pressing on your spirit for a reason, and the confusion in the atmosphere is not disorder, it is displacement. You are not imagining the acceleration, the strange heaviness mixed with anticipation, the sense that something invisible is rearranging your life while the surface still looks the same. God has been marking moments, shifting patterns, disturbing what was too comfortable, because elevation cannot happen without disruption. You have felt out of sync lately, not because you are broken, but because you are being recalibrated. Pause. This is the part where heaven confirms what your soul already knows without needing permission from the world. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? And the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. These words are not explanations. They are witnesses to the pressure you've been under. Think of Elijah on the mountain, surrounded by wind, earthquake, and fire. Yet God was not in the noise. He was in the stillness that followed, and that stillness changed everything. In the same way, the strange signals, the emotional disconnection, the breaking down of old systems around you are not the message. They are the clearing. Now hear this. Heaven has not been silent. It has been strategic, building what could not be rushed, removing what could not come with you, tuning your inner hearing so you would recognize truth without needing proof. The isolation you endured was not rejection, it was protection, and the unanswered prayers were not denial, they were timing. You were not forgotten, you were being prepared away from distraction. As alignment locks into place, your life will begin to make sense backward before it moves forward, and you will see why certain doors never opened, why certain people had to leave, why the pressure intensified right before this moment. This is not the end of anything. It is the unveiling of what was hidden on purpose. You are not being taken out of the world. You are being raised within it, carrying clarity where others carry confusion, authority where others carry fear. The shift begins in the spirit, but it will not stay invisible for long. Favor will surface without explanation. Recognition will find you without pursuit, and what you guarded in private will be acknowledged openly. This is not reward for perfection, it is response to endurance. Before this segment ends, stay with what is coming next, because the next words will activate and confirm what has already been stirring inside you, and missing it would mean overlooking the very moment your spirit has been bracing for all along. Chosen one, the weight you have carried is about to be matched by the provision being released, because heaven does not overlook endurance, and God does not ignore quiet faithfulness. What is arriving now is not symbolic, it is tangible, and it meets you right at the place where lack tried to convince you that you were forgotten. You did not imagine the pressure around money, the constant calculating, the fear of not having enough while still trying to be generous, still trying to stay upright, still trying to believe. God saw you stretching little into much, choosing integrity when shortcuts were available, staying honest when compromise would have been easier. And this next move is not indulgence, it is assignment. Breathe. This release is about resources meeting responsibility, authority meeting humility, and provision meeting purpose. Scripture seals this moment without commentary. The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it. And you will eat the fruit of your labor. Blessings and prosperity will be yours. These words land because they meet your lived reality, not theory. Think of the widow who gave Elijah her last meal when famine ruled the land, not because she had excess, but because obedience outweighed fear, and what looked like depletion became the doorway to multiplication that never ran dry. In the same way, what you guarded with trembling hands is about to expand beyond what you could have manufactured. Now hear this. Along with provision comes clarity, and with clarity comes authority, because God does not fund confusion. The fog that followed you for years is lifting, not gradually but decisively, and where hesitation once lived, discernment is taking its place. You will feel it in how quickly you recognize open doors, how calmly you say no to what drains you, how confidently you move without needing reassurance. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You are not being elevated to escape responsibility. You are being trusted with influence, with territory, with rooms that once intimidated you. The call will not announce itself loudly. It will come as a quiet opening that expects readiness, and that readiness has been forming in you through hardship, not comfort. Confusion has finished its assignment, delay has served its purpose, and waiting has done its work. What felt like stagnation was actually reinforcement, because acceleration without depth destroys people, and God preserved you by slowing you down. As this shift takes hold, connections will begin to rearrange themselves, draining relationships will fall away without effort, and strategic alliances will find you without pursuit. You will recognize your people not by excitement, but by peace. The urgency you feel now is not panic, it is momentum, and the sense that time is compressing is because heaven is moving quickly on your behalf. Before this segment ends, stay present, because what comes next will activate and confirm the authority already rising within you, and stepping away now would mean missing the precise moment your spirit has been prepared to respond to. Chosen one, there are moments when heaven does not simply respond, it restores, and this is one of those moments where what was delayed is now being returned with force and intention, because God never forgets what was endured in silence. What you gave when it cost you, what you held together when no one checked on you, what you obeyed when it felt pointless, all of it was counted, weighed, and sealed for this hour. You were not overlooked, you were stored, and the pressure you survived was proof that something valuable was being guarded for release. Stay with me. This is not a season of scraps or survival. It is a season where heaven opens what was locked specifically for you, not to impress others, but to repair what was worn thin inside you. Scripture stands as witness without explanation. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten, and bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. See if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. These words land because they touch the ache of time lost, energy drained, and faith stretched beyond comfort. Think of Ruth gleaning in fields that were never meant to be permanent, faithful in obscurity, unnoticed by men, until suddenly favor found her name and restoration rewrote her future in one encounter. In the same way, what felt like barely enough was positioning, and what looked like delay was protection. Now hear this. What is opening now carries more than provision. It carries justice, clarity, healing, and authority, because God does not restore halfway. The vault is not empty, it is overflowing, and the key turned because the timing finally matched your readiness. You are not stepping into luck, you are stepping into alignment, and what arrives will feel targeted because it is. The tears you hid, the sacrifices that cost you relationships, the integrity you chose when compromise would have advanced you faster, heaven took it personally. Promotion is not coming because you demanded it. It is coming because you endured without becoming bitter. Favor is not chasing you to inflate you. It is surrounding you to establish you. Where you were dismissed, you will now be trusted. Where your voice was ignored, it will carry weight. And where doors stayed closed without explanation, access will open without effort. This is not about being seen, it is about being positioned. Because God is correcting imbalances and transferring responsibility into hands that can carry it without corruption. Resources are shifting, influence is moving, and platforms are being reassigned not to the loudest, but to the most faithful. You will notice ideas forming with unusual clarity, connections aligning without strain, and opportunities appearing that do not require you to beg or perform. This is restoration with purpose, not reward without reason. As visibility increases, stay grounded, because what is lifting you is not ego but obedience, not performance but posture. The world may call it sudden, but heaven calls it overdue. This is the point where many people leave and later wonder why nothing shifted for them. Chosen one, your story has always carried weight beyond what your surroundings reflected, and the silence around your efforts never meant insignificance. It meant positioning. What you have lived through was not small, and what you endured quietly was never meant to stay hidden, because heaven has been tracking your faithfulness with precision. Even when you felt unseen, your name was being spoken where outcomes are decided, not by chance, but by divine orchestration that does not rush and does not miss. The loneliness you felt was not abandonment, it was refinement, and the waiting that stretched you thin was shaping the steadiness required for what is now approaching. Stay still. Scripture bears witness without commentary. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before the great, and for promotion comes neither from the east nor from the west, but God is the judge. He puts down one and exalts another. These words confirm what your spirit has already sensed stirring. Think of Esther, hidden in obscurity, unknown to power, yet chosen in silence, until one moment of favor repositioned her into influence that altered history, not because she chased visibility, but because preparation met timing. In the same way, Doors are opening that you did not knock on, and connections are forming that do not require striving, because your faithfulness has been echoing louder than your voice ever could. Now, hear this. The overflow coming toward you is not shallow, and it is not limited to one area of life. It is holistic, touching peace where anxiety once ruled, restoring joy where weariness settled, and bringing provision where lack tried to define you. The pressure you carried around finances, the constant calculations, the fear of falling behind while doing everything right, those weights are being lifted by a flow that cannot be traced to human logic. Abundance is not arriving to elevate ego, it is arriving to establish impact, and what multiplies in your hands will move through you to bless others without draining you. Relationships that fractured under stress are being softened. Conversations once impossible are becoming reachable, and healing is threading through places you thought were permanently strained. This season is not fragmentary, it is restorative. You will notice momentum returning to your steps, clarity replacing confusion, and progress unfolding without the resistance that once exhausted you. What used to feel like uphill battles will begin to move with ease, not because effort disappears, but because alignment removes friction. The acceleration you are entering is gentle yet undeniable, like wind at your back instead of against your chest, and it will feel unfamiliar only because struggle has been your normal for too long. God is removing distractions, dissolving delays, and synchronizing timing so that growth no longer costs you peace. What once took years will now compress into months, and what required constant pushing will begin to flow. This is not luck. It is divine cooperation responding to obedience that never sought applause. Chosen one, you have been strong for far too long, carrying weight that was never meant to live on your shoulders, waking up each day already tired, pushing forward while wondering if anything is actually changing. The exhaustion you feel is not laziness, and it is not failure. It is the result of trying to survive a season that demanded more than it ever gave back. You've been holding responsibilities that aren't yours, worrying about money that never seems to stretch far enough, staring into a future that feels foggy and uncertain, repeating the same cycle while silently asking yourself if this is all life will ever be. That quiet doubt about your worth, that fear that maybe you missed your moment or weren't enough to begin with, it has been whispering to you for a long time. God sees it. Pause. Heaven is not confused about where you are or why you're tired, and this word is not here to pressure you, but to name what you've been living with, so you no longer have to carry it alone. Scripture confirms this without explanation. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, and the Lord will perfect that which concerns me. These words land because they touch the ache of trying without relief. Think of Simon of Cyrene, pulled from the crowd to carry a cross that was not his, suddenly bearing a weight he never planned for, and yet that moment changed everything he thought his life was about. In the same way, you have been carrying things you didn't choose, burdens that found you instead of the other way around, and God has not ignored the cost it took on you. Now hear this. The fact that you are still standing means something is already shifting beneath the surface, because endurance like yours is not wasted, it is recognized. You are not stuck because you lack faith. You are paused because timing is being adjusted, and what feels like stagnation is actually containment. so you don't break before relief arrives. The pressure around finances will not define your future. The fear about tomorrow will not write your ending, and the loop you've been trapped in is not permanent. Hope is not being dangled in front of you. It is forming within you, steady and quiet, replacing panic with anticipation. You don't have to prove your value anymore, because it was never in question, and you don't have to outrun this season, because it is already losing its grip. Something new is approaching that will not require you to sacrifice your peace to survive, and the weight you've been carrying is about to be redistributed. This is not the moment to collapse, it is the moment to breathe, because help is closer than you think, and clarity is beginning to break through the fog. Stay with what comes next, because the next part will activate and confirm what your spirit has already started to feel shifting. And stepping away now would mean missing the exact moment your inner exhaustion turns into undeniable reassurance. What is coming will not ask if you are comfortable, only if you are awake enough to recognize it. Chosen one, before anything else, let the pressure fall away, because you are not required to fix yourself, prove your worth, or carry one more invisible load to be deserving of what God is doing. In this season, alignment does not begin with effort. It begins with permission. Permission to slow your breath, soften your shoulders, and allow yourself to stop performing for outcomes you were never meant to control. You are invited to start with something very small and very real, like choosing one quiet moment in your day, even 60 seconds, where you simply sit without asking, striving, or reviewing what went wrong, letting that stillness be an act of trust rather than avoidance. You don't need to explain anything to God in that space, because being present is already a form of alignment. You are also invited to notice where your body has been holding tension, the jaw clenched over finances, the chest tight with future fears, the constant alertness that never truly turns off, and gently allow those places to release, not by forcing calm, but by acknowledging that you no longer have to carry tomorrow today. Another small step is allowing yourself to put down what does not belong to you, the emotional weight of other people's expectations, the responsibility for outcomes you cannot shape, the guilt for resting when you were taught to equate exhaustion with faithfulness. Pause. In this season, rest is not retreat, it is preparation, and doing less is not falling behind. It is making room. You may find it grounding to end your day by naming one thing you no longer need to hold overnight, not fixing it, not solving it, just releasing it into God's care and letting sleep become an act of surrender rather than collapse. You are also invited to receive in small ways, to accept help without explanation, to say yes to moments of ease without guilt, to allow joy to visit without questioning how long it will last. This is alignment through gentleness, trust through stillness, faith expressed by letting go. You don't need to monitor the process or measure progress, because God is already working in spaces you cannot reach, arranging timing, opening paths, carrying what you were never meant to bear. Let your only participation be openness, a quiet willingness to receive instead of striving to achieve. You do not need to understand how it will unfold. You do not need to manage the outcome, because what is meant for you will arrive at the right moment without force, without pressure, and without you having to carry the weight of making it happen. Chosen one, as this moment settles, let yourself recognize that nothing you felt while listening was random or misplaced, and nothing inside you was overlooked. The weariness, the quiet hope, the tears that almost came, the sense of being seen without having to explain yourself, all of it belongs here, and all of it matters. You are not late, you are not behind, and you are not wandering without direction, even if the path has felt unclear. What you have been carrying has meaning, and the way you have survived has purpose, even when progress looked invisible. This season you are in fits you, not because it is easy, but because it is shaping you in ways that do not require rushing or proving. You have not been forgotten, you have been held, and what felt like silence was not absence but shelter. There is nothing you need to fix right now, nothing you need to chase, nothing you need to figure out before resting. You are allowed to breathe, to soften, to trust that what is unfolding is not slipping past you. The pace you are moving at is not a failure, it is appropriate, and the ground beneath you is steadier than it feels. Stay here for the quiet moment that follows, and allow the stillness ahead to carry you gently into prayer, where nothing needs to be forced and nothing needs to be earned. Just stay here for a moment, allowing your breath to slow and your heart to feel held as we step gently into this sacred space together. God, we come exactly as we are, tired from carrying too much for too long, worn from trying to make things work that felt stuck no matter how much effort we gave, quietly anxious about provision, direction, and the future we cannot yet see. We place before you the exhaustion that settled into our bones, the nights where worry spoke louder than rest, the fear of being trapped in cycles that never seemed to change, and the questions about our own worth that grew louder in the silence. We are not here to perform or persuade, only to release what has been heavy and to trust that you receive it with tenderness. Your word stands as comfort over us now. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on you, because they trust in you. We let these words rest where striving once lived. God, we acknowledge that even when we could not see progress, you were present, guiding, sustaining, and working beyond what our understanding could reach. Like the manna that appeared in the wilderness each morning, provision arrived one day at a time, never early, never late, always enough, teaching hearts that survival did not depend on control but on trust. In this moment, we release the need to manage outcomes, to carry responsibilities that were never ours, to solve what only you can order. We receive your peace as something given, not earned, your guidance as something steady, not rushed, your care as something constant, not conditional. Let your presence settle over weary minds, quiet, anxious thoughts, and gently lift the fear that tomorrow demands answers today. We affirm that you are near, even now, that you are working even when nothing appears to move, and that nothing entrusted to you is ever lost. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning, and we rest in that renewal without needing to understand how it will unfold. We welcome your calm into our bodies, your reassurance into our thoughts, and your steady guidance into the days ahead. We trust that what is meant for us will arrive in its time, without force, without striving, carried by your faithfulness rather than our strength. And as this prayer comes to rest, we remain here in quiet trust, knowing we are not alone, not forgotten, and not required to carry what you have already taken into your hands. Thank you for sharing this sacred moment, for allowing your heart to rest here, and may you carry this sense of peace with you as the video gently comes to a close. Chosen one, if your heart feels stirred and there are words resting inside you that have never found a safe place, if there is one sentence your heart has been carrying in silence, you are welcome to place it in the comments, not for people to read, but as an act of release. Not as an obligation, but as an offering, whether it is a quiet hope, a hidden fear, a long-held prayer, or something you have never spoken aloud. Writing it down can be an act of release, a way of placing it before God and trusting that He sees, hears, and holds it in His perfect timing. If this moment has brought you peace, you're welcome to share this video with someone who may need the same covering, and subscribe to stay connected as we continue walking through these sacred spaces together. You are not alone, and this moment is being held in grace.